Islam, my Moorish American nation and family, Islam, Sheikh, and Bey. I'm out here in Arrington-Bey in spiritual life. Islam. It is April the 10th, 2021. Today was a sort of odd day today at Burger King, which I've had many odd days today. One of the things I realized, Dwayne, well, let me just go back, for instance, a couple of weeks ago. Well, let me say for a few days ago. Okay, first of all, I want to say I'm thankful. Imani and I, we claimed our Moorish nationality in 2014. Well, we took the classes in 2014, and we received our paperwork, and we passed the classes at Moorish American National Republic, and we passed the classes and was naturalized and received our paperwork in 2015. We were in New York, and we learned through Moorish American National Republic, in order to be considered a part of the U.S.A. constitutional fold, you have to have a nationality. With those that come over here from overseas, from Italy, Japan, or other countries, they are asked their nationality. So Black African American is not a nationality. White is not a nationality. Pale skin is not a nationality. Hispanic is not a nationality. So we claim our nationality because we knew we were not black, we were not a Negro, which is the same thing. We are not African American, which is the same thing. So we reclaimed our nationality, and then after we reclaimed our nationality in 2015, in 2019, we started to go through the steps and correct our status through paperwork. That means we changed our Social Security cards. Because we annexed our name to Bey. Our ancestral name is Bey, so we corrected our Social Security cards to Bey. Well, first we had to get a court order change. We were here in Annapolis, Maryland. We moved to Annapolis, Maryland in 2016. At the end, the last week of May of 2016, and we were hired. He was hired at Wendy's. I was hired at Burger King within a week and a half, and I was so thankful. Approximately. And in 2019, we started to correct our status through paperwork. We took the paperwork that the Moorish American National Republic gave us to annex our name to Bey, B-E-Y, and we went through the court system here, the circuit courts, and we corrected our name, or requested a name change. It was approved, and then we changed our Social Security cards to Bey, B-E-Y, and then we changed our state ID to Bey as Moorish American, because we reclaim a nationality. We are not Black, African American, or a Negro, which all three of those are the same in constitutional law. And then after we changed or corrected our state ID, we then we corrected our birth certificate to Bey. So one of the things I remember, Sheikh Dwayne Bey, and this is the connection to the odd experiences at Burger King. I thought it was so odd because most of the people that come into Burger King still to this day, it is April the 10th, 2021, are those that are from that imply to be connected to the United States Navy or Army, the military, or are. A lot of them, they have on the full uniform, so they wear the attire still. The only thing different now is they used to come in as predominantly black males and sit at this one table for hours at a time. But ever since the coronavirus happened, the pandemic, the restaurant shut down the dining room, and Burger King was one of the ones that had to shut down their dining room, like many, I think all restaurants had to. Some of them have opened up recently, but Burger King has not opened up their dining room. So those military men and can't sit there for hours at a time anymore. But the regulars still come in to Burger King. So they would sit there hours at a time, and I started hearing them say words like I would hear at American Extended Stay, like peace, stay, just little words, just mo. They started to call one another mo. Recently, right before the coronavirus pandemic happened, and I was like, that's interesting for them to start calling one another mo. Because they knew when I first started working at Burger King that because of Abraham Lincoln's proclamations, who put a check on the military. And by the way, police officers also come into Burger King. Burger King gives the police officers in Annapolis police officers a discount. And a lot of the police officers have military background. So even though they're police officers, they have military background. So that explains a lot of times why we hear the helicopters or a helicopter fly really, really low above American Extended Stay. And then all of a sudden somebody might say, he loves you, brother paid. They use the word brother a lot, or brother paid. And then I might experience 4 sharp pains. And I started experiencing 4 sharp pains in June of 2016. This pale-skinned lady that used to sit at the table with the predominantly black male regulars at that table, she used to drive this black truck. This is in 2016, a few months after I started working at Burger King. She used to drive this black truck with the American flag on both sides of on each side of the truck. And, the United States American flag, the one, as Moorish Americans, we fly the 48 star American flag. Okay, the 48 star U.S.A, the American flag. And then our Moorish American flag. Okay, but this lady would actually come into Burger King. She had each side of, and she was a pale skin, and I'm not accusing her, I'm giving testimony. A pale skin, she would have a United States flag on both sides, one on each side of her car, and she had the word Navy, Navy 1, the number 1 on her license plate. So she used to come and actually drop some of the black males off that implied to be connected to the military, or were or are in the military, or veterans somehow. Also, predominantly customers that come into Burger King are the pale skin. Some will call them white Americans, but that's not a true term for them. There's no such thing as a white American. It's either a pale skin. Now, if they're white and they want to claim themselves white, that just lets those who have a nationality know that they haven't taken an oath or affirmed to uphold constitutional law. Okay, the correct way. African American, those, I'm just giving a description. I don't have these conversations with them personally, so we know as Moors, this is the only landmass, or one of the only landmass, where you have masses of people who have generations and generations of people here who are not in the constitutional fold, who have not taken an oath or affirmed to uphold these constitutional laws, who have not been naturalized. You have generations of people here on this landmass who don't know what a nationality is. They don't see the purpose of a nationality or to uphold constitutional law. The U.S.A. Constitution of 1787. So this is one of the the last time I remember, I think this was the only landmass where you have so many masses of people that have generations. I remember reading about in South America how you have groups of Indians who haven't claimed a nationality or so forth, but this is the only landmass where you have so many people here, generations, have not been naturalized to uphold the constitutional laws, but yet they say they are American. They say we American, let's be American. But if you ask them their nationality, they be like, what? I don't have. I'm white. I'm black. And white is a color, or in science it means purity, and black is a color. So, but the people that come over here from other countries, when you say nationality, they can tell you their nationality. If they're coming from Europe, Ireland, Scotland, Africa, the continent of Africa, different countries, Japan, they can tell you a nationality. But here, you ask somebody their nationality, they might say, I'm white, I'm black, I'm African American. And so those who know or have been educated about nationality, they literally, I'm pretty sure a lot of them just laugh in their mind or just think, how ignorant is this? But anyway, that's their choice, because they don't know. Or they choose to relinquish their rights. Either they don't know, or they choose to relinquish their rights. They choose to accept privileges that their government gives them and not rights. And so that's what it comes down to it. They say, I accept the privileges that you can give to me and take away from me at any time, but I would not. I'll relinquish my rights. And then also the Hispanic, those that from Mexico comes into Burger King, or South America, or these are predominant. And then you have healthcare workers. So getting back to a long story short, not a long story short. This is I'm trying to make it quick. So I think I said it. The military, the pale skin. These are descriptions: African American, and those that speak Spanish. They can be from South America, a lot of Mexico. I told you about that one guy that came into Burger King. He looked like he was from South America. He had the brown skin look with the heavy hair, and he just straight up lied, saying that he and Imani, my son, Arrington-Bey, were him and Imani were best friends, and that he used to give Imani rides to work. And this is in Annapolis, Maryland. He used to give Imani rides to work, and they used to draw together. And he said his name was Alex. I mean, he came to Burger King talking about Imani out loud, and then he was in line, and so I asked him, I said, he said, I said, are you talking about Imani? Because I think he was talking to me. I can't remember. I documented it, and I don't have the document in front of me. Because I thought it was so odd. And he said, oh, yeah, I know Imani. And he was just talking about him. And I knew that was a lie, because Imani and I, we are very cautious. First of all, we don't know, still to this day, no one can say in Annapolis, Maryland, that they know us personally. No one can say in Annapolis, Maryland, that we have implied that we want to get to know them personally. As Moorish Americans, Imani Gray Bey and I, Rhonda Arrington-Bey, we have never, no one can say that we have hung out, we have sat down, had a dinner. No, not one person. And I think this was very wise, because when you deal with masses of people that haven't been naturalized to uphold constitutional laws, then they are vulnerable to be used as terrorists. That means they can harm you. They are vulnerable to be used as weapons, literally weapons of mass destruction, because they have no law and they have no rule. All they do, they're going by privileges. Whatever someone tell them to do, they're going to do it, especially if they get downloads or whatever, or if they spiritually or mentally possessed. So this happened. I was so surprised, especially if they're mentally and spiritually possessed. Okay, I need to say that again. So getting back, so we corrected our status, and so this was in 2019. So what happened is I noticed one day, one of the regular black males, he drives his truck that says Army on it, Rock, okay, Army Rock on it, and I was at the post office, and once again, I was supposed to be getting a small amount of money. And I was going to the post office, and he was there. And once again, he's one of the ones that will come into Burger King regularly. And he was there, and I just sort of just stood to myself, and because I was like, I'm not gonna engage with him, because he's one of the regular black males that come to Burger King that imply to be connected to Burger with his Army, or had the Army hat on, had the Army thing on. I'm just gonna stick to myself. I've had a lot of odd experiences dealing with the military at Burger King. For instance, one black male who also had an Army emblem on his truck, when we first came to Annapolis again, he came into Burger King, he was sweating profusely. And he went around Burger King singing constantly how we're going to get this sold for about 10 minutes. Khalid Muhammad, he said his name is not, I don't know. He said he was trying to correct me about his name, but I thought he told me when we first met his name was Khalid Muhammad Abdullah. I'm not sure, but I could be wrong now. I don't know, but so Khalid Muhammad was working that day. This was maybe I think it could have been in January in 2017. But I documented. I can't remember, but it wasn't that long. It could have been the last month of. It could have been December 2016. But anyway, he was sweating, and he just went around Burger King for about 10 minutes singing how we're gonna get this sold. And I was looking at everyone at Burger King, and no one sing. They just let him do it. He was singing loud, and no one said anything to him. And then he came in front of Khalid, and he looked at Khalid. And he just kept singing in front of Khalid. And Khalid just looked at him like this. Khalid then said, "Are you okay?" Khalid just looked at him. The manager, Miss Phyllis, worked that day. Nobody said anything to him about singing loud, like he was doing some ritual, some like spiritual or mental ritual about how we gonna get a soul. He kept saying we're gonna get a soul, and this is in Annapolis, Maryland. So then another situation I had with that, which implied to be connected to the military or are connected to the military and it's also dealing with a black male, was this other customer. He came into Burger King, and he was like he was another regular customer. He would come in and he would order. He drove a red car with the MIL license plate. Because of this situation that happened, I looked up the MIL. I had no idea that MIL stood for Navy, or someone that retired from the Navy. So he came into Burger King one morning as I was working with Thomas, the manager, and he ordered a bacon, egg, cheese croissant. I said, okay, so I placed it. I think it was a 2-for-4 deal. Then after I gave him his meal, after he left out, and he came back and said, "This is flat." I said, "Your bacon, egg, cheese croissant is flat?" He said, "Yes." I said, "No problem. I have them make you another one." So they made him another one, and I gave it to him again. He came back. He left him and said, "This one is flat," and he was upset. All right. Okay. This time, Thomas intervened, and he said, "I'll make the sandwich." I walked away from him because he was upset. I mean, he was like irritated. I have never had anyone describe a sandwich as being flat before in my life, ever. Since, I mean, not life, like I've been there forever, but since I've been working at Burger King. But he described the sandwich as being flat. So I'm wondering, how flat can a bacon, egg, cheese croissant be? Because you have bacon. I mean, he's not saying there's not enough strips up there. He's not saying he's getting less strips. He ordered a regular two bacon, egg, cheese croissants. I think it was the 2-for-4 deal. he's saying it's flat, like it's dull, like it's not spicy, like it's dull and plain. So I walked away from him, and I stood about approximately 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe about 7 feet away from him. I walked down to the other end of the counter. He came and walked down to the other end of the counter and looked at me. He was looking like this. He said, is there anything I can get for free? He was like this, is there anything I can get for free? I said, I just looked at him and I walked away. I don't even think I responded. Because he was already upset. I don't even think I just walked away, and I told Thomas, and I thought it was so odd that he walked down there, and then how his whole energy was like what's the word? Odd. It was like creepy, very creepy. And I told Thomas what he said. I said, after he returned the bacon, egg, cheese croissant. This is a black male. I'm 5'7.5". He's about 7. He looked like he was about 6'2". He walked down and asked me if he could have something for free. And he would come into Burger King even after that, many times, driving the same car with the MIL license plate. So what happened was, I went ahead and looked up MIL, and MIL stood for Navy. And what caused me to be very cautious, because once again, another situation happened with a reference to a black male here in Annapolis. I was walking to work early one morning. As I was walking to work early one morning, this black male was driving in his truck. It was a black truck slowly beside me. And once again, we came to Annapolis at the last week of May of 2016, and we were hired at Burger King maybe a week and a half after that, money at Wendy's. And once again, we don't know anyone personally here, nor have we implied. So we don't know who's talking in the room at American Independence Day, or like there's a mic in the room that has an African American black Negro accent, like male and female sound like they're deranged, like there's a mic, like they are constantly watching, or like something. We don't know who it is or what it is. Islam. We don't know who it is or what it is. So, or have a Spanish accent. So I keep documenting these things because once again, this is going against constitutional rights. It's going against constitutional rights, and it's opening the door for rape. It's opening the door for violence. It's opening the door for many things that can happen that should not happen if you are in a civilized, lawful society. But when you're not in a civilized, lawful society, then you are vulnerable to be attacked by those who are used as terrorists or weapons. I mean, literally, these spirits, these accents, they sound deranged like an animal. So, and this is also outside and around the room. So I was walking to work, and this black male, he kept driving slowly next to me saying good morning. He kept saying good morning over and over and over again, as though I had better stop and say good morning to him. I just kept walking. So what he did was he pulled in front of me, because I didn't speak to him. I didn't say don't talk to me. I didn't say anything. I just kept walking. This is early in the morning. I was walking to work. I think I had an early shift. I think I had to be at work at 7. I'm not sure. I can't remember. I don't have the documentation in front of me. But he pulled his truck in front of me, got out his car, and started saying good morning, like I had better speak to him. Now, if that's not a deranged animal behavior, then what is? And once again, I don't know him, and then Money and I don't know anyone personally here. So what made him feel it's okay to approach a woman who's walking and by herself going about her day-to-day life, living a productive life as a citizen, to actually be aggressive in that manner? But once again, when you are in a savage, or you're among, we're not in it, we're among a savage, unlawful, unconstitutional, because they have not taken an oath or affirmed to uphold what they like to call, they like to say the word American a lot, and you ask them their nationality, they don't know what American, they don't know what that is, the constitutional laws. Then this is what you experience. And so you are vulnerable, if you deal with them on a personal level, to be amongst those that are probably mixed in drug dealing, money laundering, sex trafficking, organ selling. So it's no telling what they're doing behind closed doors, or what they're doing in the open. So what I did was I ended up having to call the police on this, call the police and do a report on this situation, because that really was scary. I even went to Burger King. I talked about it. I couldn't believe, I had never in my life experienced such aggressiveness from citizens like that until I came to Annapolis. I should say men, okay, that I've come across in my life. If a woman give you a hint that she don't want to speak to you, they had enough respect or self-respect for themselves and respect that she doesn't want to speak, they walked away. I have never in my life, until I came to Annapolis, have come across males who did not have enough self-respect or behave so much like an animal, where they feel like, well, I'm going to force myself or invade your boundaries, until I came to Annapolis. So let me lower my voice. So that was another situation that happened. So I'm getting back. So the black male that comes into Burger King with the Army rock, and then there was another situation with a black male, regular black male, sits at the table all the time. He told me, I used to wear my national headdress to Burger King because they said it was okay the first 3 months, my Moorish American national headdress. And then I was told I couldn't. It was actually the same day that I told Janelle, the owner. I told Janelle, the owner, about it, and about this black male. He said he did not want me to touch his hand. He implied to be connected to the Navy and Army. He said he did not want me to touch his hand. And I said, okay, no problem. He would come to Burger King, and once again, he's one of the ones that would say, I would be recording, and all of a sudden, they weren't always saying Mo. But right before the pandemic happened, a little bit before the pandemic happened, I noticed they were, like, one time they would start saying Mo to one another. And then I think it was January of 2020, this other black male who also had an Army license plate, the one that didn't want me to touch his hand, he would wear Navy emblems on his shirt. And I'm not sure what his connection to the Navy. I'm not sure, but that's what he would wear. So, and then I was recording like I would do a lot of times at Burger King, and they started calling one another Mo again. And so now to this day, even Thomas, I had to talk to the owners, because Thomas, the manager, he's still to this day will address. I didn't work with him today, but I would say not too long ago, would still address customers as Mo. And as long as he doesn't address me as Mo, because I have never disrespected him in a manner of saying baby. I don't speak like that to co-workers or employees. Baby, hun, love. Because he tried to address me in that manner too, saying love, hun, it was love, and then he tried to address me as Mo, and I complained to the owner about it, Paul. And so anyway, getting to it once again. So that was another situation. The black male said he did not want me to touch his hand. So once again, never in my life have I seen so much aggressiveness coming out of males that look to be over 20, 30 years old, 33, 32, that that lovely number 33. And once again, and getting back to that, a lot of people at American Standard State, they say 3, or it's like they keep saying 3, or even I hear Mason. Why in the world would any more would want to be a Mason when we know that whole society is full of animals? You don't know what it is walking around. You don't know what it is you're dealing with. You don't know what it is they have mixed up in. Why? That doesn't make sense. You have a whole bunch of animals walking around saying Mason. Animals that are raping or trying to possess. So, as a free Moorish American, why would anyone want to be? Why would any of us want to be a Mason? Where obviously it's about slave breeding, and trying to mix whatever animal DNA that they have running through that society. So, and that's keeping it 100. So never have Imani and I, Gray Bay, or many of the Moors that I've known, they have always talked against it. So it's like, and I didn't understand. Naturally, we never wanted to be connected to it naturally. But then we realized, we educated ourselves about it, and we see, and then I started to see what's the reason for it. So you deal with slaves. You're dealing with slaves for slave breeding. That's why. And they give them this word Mason, Freemason, so they can do little things to make them feel like they have some form. They're not in constitutional law. They're not in the constitutional fold. So their slave master trying to make them feel like, hey, look, all you got to do is create a false reality for them. They don't have rights. They have privileges. And you'll just create a reality for them so that they can behave somewhat civilized. We got to civilize these animals somehow, all right? And after we civilize these animals so they don't go killing one another, because then, if you give them a little knowledge of something, it'll help, make them feel like they can get jobs if they're Mason, make a Freemason, make them feel like they have some form of extra privilege or special privileges if they say they're Freemason. Whatever you can do to teach these slaves so they don't go out raping, killing, and harming, and really showing the animal that they are. So usually they are over 35 years old. So I didn't understand why these males behave this way, and that is connected to the in reference to Freemasonry. That's connected to the mental abuse and the military. So we as Moorish American, I know for me and the Moors I hung around with, they would never, ever, and neither we would never marry. I mean, I'm obligated anyway to Sheikh Dwayne Baffour, but we would never marry or have anything to do with one on a personal level. Islam. Imani knows this, all right, to protect ourselves and our ancient ancestral lines. So he has proclaimed that within his mind and within his spirit. All praises to Allah. Because we leave that for the animals. Leave it for the animals who are not in constitutional law. So let me continue. So as I was getting back, so most of the black males that I've come across here have been so aggressive. So I had to call the cops and make a report on the one that actually walked and got in front of me to say good morning. So then let me continue. So a few weeks ago, the black male, and also I would notice, like when I would post or tweets about odd behavior or experiences I dealt with the military, or seeing my tablet all of a sudden advertised military, all of a sudden I would see these cab drivers that look like they Arab, they had a little Pufi or African, little Islamic, driving around me even more so. And or if I press A on my tablet, the word Al-Qaeda will come up. Why would I be looking up Al-Qaeda? I mean, I could look up Al-Qaeda if I want to know what it is and what the group is. But that's dealing with 9/11, and we all know during 9/11, thousands of people were murdered. Some people say sacrificed. Okay, in 9/11, and they kept using, and that's when the word Al Qaeda came up. So when I would give testimony about the military, or those that imply to be connected to the military, and post it on Twitter, because I have never seen anything like the behavior I've experienced here before, like I have experienced in Annapolis, Maryland. All of a sudden, these cab drivers would be driving around closely or circling around with the poofy on, or look like they were Arab or Middle Eastern. More so than I would see them more so than before, especially if I'm going to work or walking back. And I might have posted right before I went to work, or I might have posted afterwards. So I find that very odd. And once again, we all know what happened with 9/11. 9/11, you had thousands of people that were murdered, trillions of dollars missing. And they said a guy named Bin Laden did it, and they also kept bringing up the word Al Qaeda. So we'll leave it at that. That's what they say. So the guy that drives the army truck, Rob, he came into Burger King a few weeks ago, or maybe a week and a half ago, and now we've been in the pandemic, or being we're not in the pandemic, but of course the coronavirus pandemic and the restrictions started to happen. If I remember correctly, it was March of 2020. So what Burger King has implemented, we have to use these bowls to give. We're supposed to use bowls and trays. I try to do it because that's what as far as I remember, up to this day, I'll double check, there's still a letter saying use these trays, use these bowls on Burger King's wall. So we do. It's the regular black males, they still come into Burger King, so they know we are supposed to be using the trays. So at each restaurant we have a tray. So the black male that drives the army truck, that comes to Burger King, he's a regular that has Army Rock. He came to Burger King and he was like, and I'm saying this because of the experiences I've experienced since being here in Annapolis, Maryland. Okay? He came into Burger King, he said he ordered his meal. I took his order and everything, and then I went to give him a straw, place a straw on the counter, because that's what we're supposed to do, or in the bag, not in the hand, because we are Burger King is promoting contactless, and he's come to Burger King several times. I mean, the pandemic has been going on for over a year, okay, and I can't tell you how many times I've seen him in Burger King, too many times to count. So I'm trying to put the straw, I'm trying to place a straw on the counter like I have always done. I waited on him before, and he's trying to grab the straw from my hand. So I'm trying to he's like trying to grab the straw, like you trying to grab something, like you trying to touch something. And I'm like, I said, sir, I'm putting it on the counter. I said, we supposed to place everything on the counter. And he said, pick it up and put it on my cup. And I said, you can pick it up and put it on your cup? I mean, I looked at him like that, because when he was trying to reach for it, at first I was like, maybe I should back away, because he was doing it in an irritating way. I'm trying to put the straw. Now, this is okay. Now he's the black male that I saw at the post office, and I didn't finish the thought. When we started to correct our nationality, I had to mail certain things to take care of. I was supposed to be receiving possibly some money. This not having anything to do with nationality. But I saw him at the post office. I thought it was odd. And sometimes I would see him across the street when I'm walking to work early in the morning on the hill from Burger King, right before you get to Burger King. So I'm trying to do what I have been doing, what Burger King asked, place the straw on the counter. and he's like, trying to take the straw aggressively from my hand. So most of the military males, they have muscles. He looked like he was about 6'1" approximately. These are not, and as you know, military males and females in the military are trained for combat. They are trained for combat. They're trained to kill, and they're supposed to be trained to protect the true American citizens on this landmass, especially if we are trying to proclaim our actual freedom that are in Abraham Lincoln's proclamations, uphold those constitutional laws that many soldiers that were in the military died for. So he was literally trying to grab the straw in an aggressive manner. I placed a straw on the counter and I backed away because he knows once again, the pandemic's been going on for over a year. Those trays been there for over a year. So here, and I'm a woman at some people call Burger King a fast food restaurant. I call it a restaurant. I'm a woman who's working at Burger King. So then he said, put the straw on my cup, like he wanted to give a command to do something. And I said, no, you can put the straw on your cup. And then he sat there like this and looked away. Miss Phillips was working and she had her back, and he just sat there with his hand. He put his hand on his hip and he was just licking like this, like he was so angry. He put his hand on his hip and he was licking like he was so angry. And then I waited and I gently grabbed the straw and I put it on his cup. And he said, thank you. And then he left. And I was wondering why he was standing there. And I just sat there and I thought about it. I said, you know what? I think he is standing there because he is making a stand that he wants me as a woman to place this straw on his cup. So as an employee at Burger King and woman, I'm going to place this straw on his cup gently. So anyway, so after that, I was like, okay. And then I noticed at Burger King, some of the customers kept coming into Burger King. They were using the word racist that same day. They just started speaking about someone being racist, or saying she's racist. And then what else? And I was experiencing four sharp pains. And I didn't get back to the first time I experienced four sharp pains. So getting back to when the pale-skinned lady used to drive the black truck to Burger King, and had the American flags on both sides of her truck with the word Navy 1 on it. So she would sit at the table with the regular table with the predominantly black males. So one day, and this was a few months, this was in 2016, after I started working at Burger King. As I was serving her, I felt a four sharp pain in my right temple. I have never experienced four sharp pains before. Imani and I, we haven't had to go to the hospital in years. The last time I had to go to the hospital for illness was 2009. I actually had to think about it. I think it was 2009. I think it was. Imani, probably even later. I used to give him checkups. I used to take him to get his checkups, because he was underage. So it was when he was. I used to have to take him to the doctor to make sure he was okay, just get him his regular checkups for school. But since then, we haven't had to go to the hospital. So when you're dealing with those who are able to send four sharp pains, okay, who are able to send four sharp pains, then they're doing it for reasons in connection to medical. Okay, because when you are experiencing a dis-ease or a pain to your body, and you continue to experience this pain in certain areas of your body or your internal organs, okay, then that which is forcing this pain is definitely trying to set up a way where possibly you can feel ill, because definitely there are unclean spirits. I always use the word spirits, clean and unclean. Not all spirits are clean, not all spirits are unclean. Okay? Not all people have unclean spirits, whether they're black, African American, pale skin, whatever, Hispanic, whatever they come from, and not all of them are clean. So you have clean and unclean spirits. So when you're dealing with spirituality, you know that you're among a telepathic community. Okay? And not only that, possibly a community that have unnaturalized military officers. Unnaturalized. That means a foreign entity is using them. Okay? That means they have not taken an oath or affirmed to uphold constitutional laws. A foreign entity is using them. It could be another nation, whatever. Something else is using them, and that means or using the commander in chief, which is the president. Because if the president haven't been naturalized and you have been naturalized correctly, that president is not your president. As a Moorish American, how can a president who has not been naturalized under laws of freedom, under our empire, be our president? They can't be our president, okay? So when you're dealing with an unnaturalized military force who is supposed to be controlled by the commander-in-chief, which is the president, okay? Then, and that president is not naturalized to uphold laws of freedom, then you know that that president is being controlled by a foreign entity as well. And so that's keeping it 100. So hopefully the president has been naturalized, but definitely I can see that we are possibly among unnaturalized military here that haven't taken oaths or affirmed to uphold laws of freedom, Constitution of 1787, the 13th Amendment with 20 sections, and all four of Abraham Lincoln's proclamations. Okay, so getting back, so I felt the fourth sharp pain, and I felt the fourth sharp pain with the pulse as I was serving. I'm not accusing her. As I was serving her, first time in my life, feeling four sharp pains. I knew it was force because it came out of nowhere. It was like a zap to my right cranium. She said, "Paid, y'all," and she had the license plate Navy 1 on it. And I never experienced anything like that, but this happened simultaneously. I'm not accusing her, but it did happen simultaneously. And then as I continued to earn money at Burger King, I noticed I was starting to experience four sharp pains continuously. Like for instance, these past couple of days, I was feeling four sharp pain right at my coccyx. A four sharp pain in my coccyx, where that is some people will call it your tailbone. Okay? So imagine, Dwayne Arrington-Bey, my Moorish American Nation and family, those that have the telepathic code, okay? They imagine having a group of people that are experiments with the telepathic code, and you need to get money for the medical system, because you have two forms of medical systems. You have those that are the hospitals that are here for healing. You have those that are not. And so when you're dealing with those unclean spirits who are that can manipulate your thoughts, cause you to think imbalance, feel and replicate your thoughts, bring anxiety to your mind, send four sharp pains, cramps in your leg, pain in your chest, your head. Why are they doing it? Now, if you get it enough, you're going to have to go to the hospital. some form of prescription. You might want to go get a pain reliever, some form of pain reliever like ibuprofen or something even stronger. You might need to go to the hospital to get a prescription so you can get something stronger if they put a spirit on you to do it constantly. So I remember how America was, all these drug companies were coming out in the 90s. It seemed like they kept saying Americans, if you have, when a new drug came out, they had to give you all, if you have this, if you have that, you can't take it, whatever. So you had all these different drugs, these different diagnoses that came out. So to remind you, you have spirits that can attack your organs, okay, your internal organs. So if you're pregnant and you have a fetus, okay, you're pregnant, you have a fetus. You have spirits, unclean spirits that can attack your fetus, and it can cause a dysfunction, an abnormality with your fetus, with the fetus of that child. Okay, it's obviously, if they can attack your organs inside, make you feel sharp pains, they can easily attack the fetus that's inside a pregnant woman to cause the pregnant woman to have the fetus of that child, the baby, to have abnormalities easily. So I remember when you had all these different diagnoses that were coming out, where people were, Americans, okay, I'm saying Americans, because even though I already know masses of people here, unfortunately, have not claimed a nationality, so they don't have rights. They don't have rights. Okay, they have privileges, and so they're seen as that. Okay, and so all of a sudden, you have these different diagnoses. You have people were taking pills for this, taking pills for that, anxiety. They overly teary-eyed. They imbalanced, they can't walk right. So many different diagnoses came, it's like all these diagnoses where people would have to go to the hospital and go to a pharmacist to get money. If you have a group of people from a different land, experiments, and you leash them out on citizens to cause harm, to send sharp pains, to cause illnesses, who makes money? The medical system. The medical systems that do not uphold or do not want to heal, but are looking for a profit. And that's where you get illegal organ selling. That's where you have, and so you thinking, I don't know why my child, so if they want to, they can start saying this is hereditary. You see, this is hereditary. We can attack one line of or a family of people constantly and have spirits attacking different families for whatever line. They said, look, this is hereditary. This is why this is happening to you. Okay? So I'm gonna stop there because it's an hour long, but I have something else to say about my odd experiences. I'll wait till tomorrow. It's long.